Alright, so there hasn't really been much updates on Young Philly since the last video, but a friend of the supposed victim, the one that accused Young Philly of, grape, talked about the night of the assault and R-word on a TikTok live stream. But before we get into that, let me give you a quick little recap of the whole Philly situation, because maybe you've forgotten some details, or maybe you don't know what I'm even talking about. So Young Philly was arrested on October 10th in Perth, Australia, while he was on his Australian branch of his tour. Well, apparently Young Philly met a girl backstage of his show, and they both went back to his hotel room, and apparently Young Philly made some advantages on her that she was uncomfortable with. And Young Philly, somewhere in this interaction, ended up choking her. The girl then reported him to the police. He got arrested and went to court and was charged and temporarily let go on a conditional bail. And he's supposed to appear back in court on December 19th at 9:30 a.m. And this will finally decide whether he's guilty or not. Now, going back to the friend of this supposed victim, the story that she tells on the TikTok live stream is pretty sketchy. Like, there are a lot of things that aren't adding up, and you'll see it when I tell it. So basically, the alleged victim went to the club where Philly was performing, and as soon as she left the club, Young Philly was basically all up on another girl. And beforehand, Philly was telling this girl all sorts of things, like, come back to me, I guess to his hotel room. I don't know what else that would mean. And by the way, the victim and Young Philly actually have history together. They'd go to nightclubs together, all the time. And every time they would go back to his hotel room. Probably not just have a nice talk, if you know what I mean. So the friend messaged the victim and basically texted her that Philly does not care about her and is literally all up on another girl right now. So Philly messages the victim saying, come to the car, I'm leaving. All the way up to this point, this is when a story starts, going downhill from here. So it's kind of hard to hear, but I swear the girl said he's literally messaging her abuse.
Next minute, he's messaging her saying, oh, come to the car, I'm leaving. And he's literally messaging her abuse, saying,
I don't know if this girl knows how abuse works, but you can't message someone abuse. But are you guys ready for the abuse? Philly said, I'm leaving you. I don't care. Don't get me wrong. What Philly did was wrong. It's not cool to mess with someone's feelings like that. That's not cool, but that's not abuse. So I guess the victim comes back to the club, probably because of what Philly was doing, and she got inside of his car. Philly told her to get out, and that she was a waste of his time. And I guess after that, her and Young Philly drove off to the hotel room, and that's when the incident happens. But we finally get to figure out what happened in that hotel room, because later that morning, she told her friend what happened. So she wanted to leave, but Philly said, you're either staying and taking your clothes off or leaving.
Later that morning, she told me what actually happened. So she wanted to leave around 3 in the morning when she called me. But then she said, oh, you're either staying and take your clothes off or you're leaving. So she stayed because they had history and she just felt he had all this power.
So literally, he gave her the opportunity to leave. And at this point, it's her fault for not leaving beyond this point. And the friend in the live stream was trying to justify and why she didn't leave. And she's making it sound worse than it really is. Oh, she didn't leave because they have history. He has more power over her. It's so stupid to claim that there's a power dynamic. You're a grown adult, not a 15-year-old. You can make your own decisions. It's your fault for staying. And you made the wrong one to go back to the hotel room with this guy after knowing that he's most likely messing around with other girls and even yelled at you to get out of his car. And that you're a waste of his time, and you still decided to go back to the hotel room with him. And then he says, you're either taking your clothes off and staying, or you're leaving, and you still decided to stay. You're just stupid. You had an opportunity to leave so many times, and you decided to stay by your own choice. First of all, aren't you guys not supposed to be talking about this until after the court's decided on? They didn't want social media to affect the investigation. Because by her friend going online and telling this story, very poorly may I add, because there are a lot of details that are just missing, has probably ruined this case. Because who knows, maybe the girl changed her mind during it and wanted to leave. And Young Philly prevented her leaving. But then again, when did she say that? And the girl did not say this at all during the TikTok live stream. I don't know how true this part is or not, so take this part with a grain of salt. And on top of all this, apparently the victim's name is Emma Burns, who is a stripper that has also set up other rappers in the UK. So yeah, it seems like her and her friend set up Young Philly, have a little payday, I guess. Because in Australia, if you win a court case, you get paid. And I'm assuming it's probably going to be out of Philly's pocket, so they're probably going to get paid pretty good. But if they're just lying about this whole situation, they should be locked up as long as Young Philly would have been locked up for if he was found guilty. Because they literally ruined Young Philly's reputation. His career is basically over by this point, and he has lost so many opportunities. Because you guys lied, they wanted to have a little payday. And I'm assuming that she concocted this whole plan because she was jealous that basically Young Philly was just using her and that she was just another girl to him. And that she didn't matter as much as she thought she did to him. So I think it literally was just out of jealousy if that part of the story is true. But if she's known for doing this to other rappers, then who knows what her reasoning behind it was besides money. And another thing I want to talk about is media coverage over this situation. Because when Young Philly was accused, there was like so many articles about him. And they were pretty much slandering him. Not really, it was more of the court that was slandering him. They're saying like, oh, there's no way that he's innocent because we have CCTV footage. But if he was guilty without a reasonable doubt, why are we taking so long to arrest this man? I don't get it. But I thought it was strange, like as soon as this information came out, kind of more proven that Philly is innocent, there's like no one covering it. Like, I don't understand. Why is that the reason? Like, do you not want to seem like you're defending a racist? That's why? Because you're not. You're just telling a story. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's any more information on Young Philly's case or anything involved around it, I'll for sure make an update video. Besides that, like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.